So Mark, we're here today to talk about legal operations. This seems to be a term that's of increasing importance for the industry, but I'm not sure it's very well understood. Can you explain a little bit about it, please?
Yeah. Legal operations is pretty new, but it's a phrase that's emerged from clients, and it focuses on how legal services are delivered. And what that means is taking bits of the organisation which are pre-existing and putting them together in one place, one team, one place. And really, we think that's a good idea because it allows that team to collaborate, and we think it'll actually amplify the service they provide to clients.
And is this something that the rest of the industry are looking at, or do you think you're ahead a little here?
Yeah, I'd like to think we're ahead a little. I'm aware of some firms experimenting with this and talking about it and thinking about the same sorts of issues. But by announcing this and bringing this idea forward, we think we're a little bit at the more innovative end of the spectrum.
And so, what in doing this, what is the problem you're trying to solve?
The problem, I guess, we saw is that clients had irritations, they had things in their business they weren't quite getting to, but didn't know how to remove the irritation or to get to the issue that they were trying to deal with. So legal operations actually enables us to go in and, instead of delivering legal advice, to talk to the client, listen to what they've got to say, help them analyse what their problem is, and usually it's to deliver better service to their own internal clients at a lower cost.
So it's not just law, it's more than law.
That's a good analysis, and this is a little bit of a journey we're on, so we're still exploring into this space. We are a very client-orientated organisation, so it's evolved to meet client need, and this is a step back moment, and when we step back we think there's a way to bundle it up in a more effective way, both for clients but also for the people in the business, the lawyers and the non-lawyers. And an interesting sort of development around that we're finding is that some lawyers want to go down this alternative track, but also we're attractive to some talent who are non-lawyers, technologists and project managers in the type.
So I know that a number of clients, investment banks and Google, I think are good examples, have set up their own legal operations teams. Are you reorganising now to better communicate with those teams?
Absolutely correct. Clients are already organising themselves internally with the legal operations unit, and we feel that we need to be able to communicate on a par with them. And if we don't have it, it makes the conversation more difficult. We're not lining up similar people with similar backgrounds and similar interests, and there's a real risk that we get dissonance. We actually don't understand what the clients are telling us because we've got people from different backgrounds.
So can we talk specifics? Do you have a good example of how a client could be helped by a legal operations team?
Yeah, look, there's a couple coming through now. It's hard to call it a trend, but it's actually really exciting when you see the team come back and saying you wouldn't believe the conversation we've just had. And one springs to mind a couple of months ago where a very good client, long-serving client of ours, really was having some issues around contracts that were being executed by a sales force, and the legal team really couldn't manage the risk that was inside those contracts. Multinational client, different nationalities, different cultures. And the General Counsel was saying, well, how do I do this? My people don't like reviewing those contracts, yet there's risk in them. What do we do? And we said, well, you probably need to turn it from legal advice into a process. And he said, well, that's okay, but how do you do that? And so we went through an iterative discussion where we worked out a way that our team in Belfast, with some technology, could look at a large number of contracts and effectively squeeze the risk out. So the outcome was that we had a happier client, which makes for a happier bunch of lawyers. I think really the nice sort of icing on the cake to that story is that their insurance premiums dropped because they were less risky. They were managing their risk in a way that they hadn't thought of before.
I guess also to set your guys the challenge to come up with that solution, that goes down well internally as well for you.
It was a win-win across a range of different things, sort of happier client because we'd help them identify and solve a problem in a different way, cost effective, new revenue for us that we didn't know, and a deeper relationship. We got to know them and know their business a bit more. The point for our people, I think, is it actually gives them a range of interesting things to do. It allows them to more freely collaborate with like-minded people, both internally and in the client and in the legal operations groups in clients. And that's a good thing. It gets them into the sunlight.
There's a geographic element to this reorganisation. Does it mean that, for example, your project management expert in New York is going to find it easier to communicate with a peer in Melbourne, so they can come up with that perfect solution.
It does. And interestingly, our vision is for those people to sit in the main business, so they're not sitting in a laboratory in geography A away from the main business in geography B, C and D. But as a team, they'll be able to connect virtually, which is the way of the world. They'll be able to work agilely and they'll be able to collaborate with like-minded people. There's a great talent story in this.
Thank you, Mark.
You're very welcome, James.